welcome to Book Detective. My name is Dinosaur O'Dell, and today we are going to read Czar and the Broken Spaceship. But before we begin, check this out. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? The 5 W's. All right, you guys, it's time for our finger W's and our sing-along. So get ready. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? The 5 W's. Hey there, welcome to the Book Detective Campfire. Before we begin our 3 stories, we're going to do a campfire song, kind of a warm-up. I'm going to need your help. I brought my guitar. Your job is going to be to play the shoulder drums, and whenever the guitar plays, you play shoulder drums. Whenever the guitar stops, you freeze. Pretty easy. We'll see, though. I can get kind of tricky. Everyone get your shoulder drums ready, and here we go. Freeze. I want to be an astronaut, fly through outer space. I want to be a superhero, save the human race. I want to be a major league shortstop, turn that double play. I want to be a farmer growing food and throwing hay. A big dream, big dream, big dream, big dream. We're gonna shoot for the sky, we're gonna fly high, that's our big dreams. All right, you guys are in charge of the shoulder drum solo. Go ahead and play as quickly as you can. Try the crisscross on the shoulder drums. Try the head bongo. Try that. Okay, try clapping your hands above your head. Okay, try clapping your hands behind your back while standing on one foot. Go ahead, stand up. Okay, try this. Try closing one eye, jumping up and down, and clapping your hands in front of your nose. All right, sit on back down. I think you got it. It's gonna go a little faster. I want to be an astronaut, fly through outer space. Want to be a superhero, save the human race. Want to be a real shot, want to be a farmer, go through the Oh yeah. Nice job, you guys. Hey, it's time to start our very first story. And it's our book, Czar and the Broken Spaceship. Here we go. Czar and the Broken Spaceship. Story by Dinosaur O'Dell. Illustrations by Santiago Hermano. Dedicated to good friends and evening walks in the park. One evening, while I was walking through the park with my friends, we heard a strange noise. Brumble, fuzz, brumble, brumble, fuzz. We looked under rocks and in bushes, but we couldn't find anything. And then one of my friends saw it. Over there, above the tree, floating above the highest branches was a spaceship, a UFO, a flying saucer. Brumble, brumble, fuzz. It was shiny with flashing green, blue, and yellow lights. Then it started to make a weird noise. Brumble, splat, fuzz, crash. We ran to the crash site, and when we arrived, a green guy was climbing out of the spaceship. He looked at us with his 3 eyes. And then he spoke to us with his 2 mouths. Zing-a-bob, loop, loop. What did he say? Zigabob loop loop? What does that mean? I don't speak space alien. Luckily, one of my friends studied space alien in school, and he said that the space alien said, "Hi, my name is Czar. I am an alien from another star. My ship had crashed right over there. I was hoping that you all would help me make some repairs." Huh. Push this button with your finger. With your what? Your finger. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push this button with your finger. All right, everyone, you got to take one finger and press that button. Go ahead, press that button on the spaceship. Push this button with your foot. With your what? Your foot. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger and your foot. All right, you can't see my foot, but go ahead and press that button. Push this button with your elbow. With your what? Your elbow. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger, your foot, and your elbow. Okay, we've got 3 buttons to press. Go ahead, guys. Here we go. Push this button with your knee. With your what? With your knee. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger, your foot, your elbow, and your knee. All right. Zigzag, pop, pop. Hey guys, Czar says that he has a lunch date on Mars. We need to hurry. Push this button with your nose. With your what? Your nose. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger, your foot, your elbow, your knee, and your nose. Okay, we got this. Keep pressing those buttons. Push this button with your bottom. With your what? Your bottom. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger, your foot, your elbow, your knee, your nose, and your bottom. Push this button with your tongue. Your what? Your tongue. If we all push a button, we can fix our ship. Push these buttons with your finger, your foot, your elbow, your knee, your nose, your bottom, and your tongue. All right, we got this going. Don't forget. Push the buttons even faster. Even faster. Even faster. Faster, you guys. It's almost fixed. All the lights started to blink on and off. Yellow, blue, and green. We did it! We fix our ship. Brumble, brumble, fuzz. Czar looked at all of us and he said, "Zoop gap." That means thank you in space alien. Then he climbed into the spaceship, and as it zoomed into space, Czar stood at the window. He waved and said, "Jam, jam." Brumble, fuzz. Bye-bye. Come back soon, Czar. Jam, jam. The end. Brumble, brumble, fuzz. All right, before we think about our book, Czar and the Broken Spaceship, we're going to have to sing our song. And of course, we're going to need our W's and we're going to need our 5. So here we go. Let's get our W's ready. Get them on both hands. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? So let's talk about Czar and the Broken Spaceship. We're going to do 3 of the W's, And the first W is this one right here. Who. So, who was in this story? Well, I seem to remember that there was a mouse in this story who is dressed as a pirate. Is that right? Yes. No. No, that's not right. Who was in the story? Yeah. Yes. Czar and me, Dino O'Dell. I was in the story when I was a little boy. And I don't know if you guys knew that, but I wrote that story. So, Czar and 3 friends. One of the friends was me. Let's take a look at, yep, Czar, Dino, and Dino's friends. What about where they were? That's what I want to know. I want to know where they were. And I think they were at the swimming pool. No? Thank you. Yes, that's correct. They were at the park. So we've got who and where, and our last W is going to be what. What were they doing? I think Dino and his friends were eating ice cream at the park. And someone's ice cream melted. And they cried? Was that the story? No, that wasn't the story. Yeah, that's right. Well, they helped fix a spaceship. That was the main thing, right? They fixed Czar's ship. And, of course, they had to meet Czar. And, yes, and a spaceship crashed. So there were a lot of different things that happened. Excellent. Let's finish this off with who, what, when, where, and why. Who, what, when, where, and why. Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's. Hey, our next story is about the time that Grandpa O'Dell went to the continent of Asia and climbed Mount Everest. This is an interesting one. Grandpa O'Dell and the Yeti. Get ready for the Yeti.
It was a dark and stormy night. The next day we were going to hike all the way to the peak. But something woke me up in the middle of the night. I heard rustling in my tent. When I clicked on the flashlight, there was a Yeti, an abominable snowman. He had white fur, big blue eyes, and was about as tall as Yao Ming. And he was wearing my favorite pair of pink long underwear around his neck like a scarf. He bolted out of the tent and up the side of the mountain with my long johns. Well, I followed him, running as fast as I could in my PJs through the cold night air. He was heading up the mountain. He was heading to the peak. I kept my eye on that flash of pink as the Yeti bolted over rocks and through ice fields. Finally, he stopped at the tippy top of Mount Everest, 29,029 feet high. It's way up there. I was out of breath, but I looked at the Yeti and I said, "Undies, please." Well, the Yeti looked at me with his big blue eyes, and then he slowly took a long brown sock out of his pocket. He pulled the sock over the top of his head like a ski cap. I was stunned. I'm no expert, but any style maven knows that pink loves brown. And the way the morning light fell on that hat and scarf, oh, stunning. The Yeti looked fabulous, really something. So I said, keep it. You look great, Yeti. He grunted his thanks, and then I headed back down to camp and fell asleep in my tent. And that's how I made it to the top of Mount Everest. Now, did I ever tell you about the time I surfed on a tsunami? Well, I was swimming with some sharks on the Great Barrier Reef when we felt an earthquake. Maybe next time, Grandpa O'Dell. All right, Dino. Next time it is. See you later, kids. Thanks, Grandpa.
Were you ready for the Yeti? Was that story a tall tale, or was it true? What do you guys think? Did Grandpa O'Dell really meet a Yeti? Okay, so was that a tall tale or was it a true story? I know, well, I think that Grandpa O'Dell is very good at telling tall tales, so my guess is it's a tall tale. All right, let's try our 5W song. 2, 3, 4. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? Okay, let's talk about this story. Grandpa O'Dell and the Yeti, and the first question is, who was in it? Well, that's easy. It's the same as the title of the story. Grandpa O'Dell and the Yeti were in this story. Where were they? Yeah, Grandpa was in his tent, and they were on a mountain. Do you guys know which mountain it was? Yeah, it was Mount Everest, which is the biggest mountain in the entire world. 29,029 feet. Everyone say, Mount Everest. Great. So they were on Mount Everest, and what happened? Yeah. Okay, so yes, Grandpa O'Dell was in his tent, and the Yeti tried to steal what? He stole Grandpa O'Dell. He didn't even try to steal it. He actually did steal Grandpa O'Dell's long underwear, his favorite pair of pink long underwear, and the Yeti started running up the mountain. So Grandpa O'Dell was chasing him, and they ended up at the very top of Mount Everest. That's how Grandpa O'Dell climbed Mount Everest. And when they got up there, do you guys remember what happened? Yeah. Grandpa O'Dell gave the Yeti one of his brown socks, and the Yeti put it on his head like a hat. And Grandpa O'Dell was like, keep it. You look great, Yeti. Because the scarf and the hat look so good together. So, yeah, that's what happened in the story. Great, you guys. So, the Yeti took Grandpa's underwear. That was the big plot line, is that he stole his underwear. Great job, you guys. We're going to try Who, What, When, Where one more time, the 5W song. Here we go. 2, 3, go. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? Nice work. This next story is called Itty Bitty Monsters. Don't worry, it's not scary. Really, it's not. When I was a boy, I did not like going to sleep. And one night, my dad said, "Dinosaur, it's time for bed." "No, it's not. I'm not ready for bed." "Dinosaur, my watch says that it's time to go to sleep." "But my body says that it's time to run through the house as quickly as possible, jump up onto the sofa, throw the cushions onto the floor, leap into the air, land in the cushions, roll out and run through the house again. My body says that it's time to play." "Dinosaur, this is why we have a bedtime routine." He's right. We had a bedtime routine. Every night it was the same. We'd start with brushing our teeth. Go ahead, brush your teeth. And then we would wash our face. Go ahead and just wash your face. And then, after I was done with those, I would always open a book and read. And one night, after I was finished reading, I stretched one arm up above my head, and I stretched the other arm, and I yawned a great big yawn. I put my head down on my pillow, and I closed my eyes, and I was just drifting off to sleep when I heard this noise. I sat up in bed, and I looked across the floor of the bedroom to see if there was anything making noise. But I didn't didn't see anything. So I pulled the blanket back up to my chin, and I stretched one arm and the other arm and yawned. Oh, great big yawn. I put my head down on my pillow. I was just about to actually start. There it is again. This time, I climbed out of bed and I walked over to the closet, and I very gently grabbed the doorknob on the closet door and turned it, and then I very quickly opened the door. I didn't see anything making. My shirts were hanging from the hangers and my shoes were on the floor. I don't see anything making noise, so I closed the door and I climbed back into the bed, pulled the blanket up to my chin, stretched one arm up, other arm up, and I yawned, and I was just about to start that dream about the chocolate swimming pool. There it is again. This time, I leaned way over the edge of the bed, and I looked under the bed, and I saw underneath the bed 5 itty-bitty, cute, furry, and cuddly monsters, and they were singing. 5 itty-bitty monsters were lying underneath the bed. Go out and scare some kids out there, the littlest monster said. I could not believe it. There were 5 monsters under the bed. One of them was telling the other monsters to go scare some kids. So 5 minus 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, everybody hold up 4 fingers. 4 itty-bitty monsters lying underneath the bed. Go out and scare some kids out there, the littlest monster said. Another monster went running out from under the bed. 4 minus 1 is, 3 monsters. 3 itty-bitty monsters lying underneath the bed. Go out and scare some kids out there, the littlest monster said. This time, 2 monsters went running out from under the bed. So 3 minus 2 is 1 itty-bitty monster was lying underneath the bed. I'm scared to be alone. Please come home, the littlest monster said. I couldn't believe it. That little monster was afraid to be alone underneath the bed. And one of his friends that was in the room next door said, "Hey, I'll keep you company." That monster came running into the room. 1 monster plus 1 more monster equals 2 itty-bitty monsters lying underneath the bed. Oh, we're still scared to be alone. Please come home, the littlest monster said. 2 more monsters came to keep those 2 monsters company. So let's see. 2 plus 2 is, it's 4. 4 itty-bitty monsters lying underneath the bed. We're still a little scared to be alone. Please come home, the littlest monster said. Finally, the last monster came running into the room. 4 plus 1 monster equals 5 itty-bitty monsters were lying underneath the bed. Don't make a peep. Let's go to sleep. The littlest monster said. And all the monsters, they stretched one arm up above their heads. And they stretched their other arm up above their heads. And they yawned a great big yawn. And they put their heads down on their pillows. And they all went to sleep. and so did I. Oh, the end. Okay, here we go with the 5 W's of Itty Bitty Monsters. Let's start with our song. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? Okay, so let's start with who? Who was in the story of Itty Bitty Monsters? That's right. There were monsters. How many monsters were there? Yeah, there were 5 monsters, and who else was in the story? Yep, that's correct. I was in the story, and there was one other person in the story. Yes, my dad was in the story. Dino, my dad, and the Itty Bitty Monsters. Excellent. Let's take a look at our next one. It's where. Where did the story take place? Yes, it was in my bedroom, and the monsters were where? Yeah, they were under the bed. All right, so last of all is what happened in the story. A lot happened in that story, right? I mean, there's so many things. I only mentioned one thing here on our list, but the monsters got scared. Yes, the monsters got scared, but so much happened even before that. Let's start at the beginning. My dad said I had to go to bed, but I didn't want to go to bed. And my dad said I had to do my bedtime routine. What did my bedtime routine include? Does anybody remember? Yeah, I had to brush my teeth. I had to brush my teeth and wash my... Yeah, and then after I brushed my teeth and washed my face, there was one more thing, and you got it, read a book. And then I tried to fall asleep, but I kept hearing those monster noises. First I checked the floor, and I didn't see any monsters, but then I got out of bed and I went and checked where? The closet, yes. And finally I checked underneath the bed. Yeah, and that's where monsters in all these stories hang out, in the closets and under the beds. Now, we know that this story is fiction, right? It means it's not true. And we know that it's not true because monsters don't exist, do they? So in all the stories, the monsters are either under the bed or in the closet. In this one, they were under the bed. And the monster, the littlest monster, was telling the other monsters to go what? To go scare some kids. Yeah. So the monsters leave 1 or 2 at a time to go scare some kids, but then the little monster, what happens to the little monster? Yes, there we go. The monster got scared. That little monster got scared, and he calls his friend back, and then they both get scared, and they call their friends back, and then all 4 of them get, and finally the last monster arrives, and they all stretch and yawn and go to sleep. Yeah. Itty bitty monsters. Let's try the 5 W's one more time. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? Great, you guys. Hey, thanks for joining me for Book Detective, featuring Czar and the Broken Spaceship. My name is Dinosaur O'Dell, and I hope to see you again next time. Don't forget your 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why? Who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W's? when, where, and why, who, what, when, where, and why the 5 W.